Okay, you know, the other day I was talking with one of my patients about hormones, and he said, I've never seen a hormone. So, this one's for you, Sam. I'm going to give you a little presentation on what a hormone molecule looks like. And this is one of them. This happens to be testosterone. This is one of the steroid hormones, and all the steroid hormones are built on the cholesterol chassis, and they all look very similar to this, including vitamin D, which is a hormone. And if we take these little groups here, the white ones are hydrogen, the black ones are carbon, the red ones are oxygen, and if we look at the position of these different atoms, they are incredibly important. If you make minor changes, will have huge effects on what's going to happen. Now, think about word order in a sentence like, Mother, what are we having for dinner? As opposed to, what are we having for dinner, Mother? Or think about punctuation. The woman ordering for a coat, she wires her husband for permission and he wires her back. No price is too high. Much to her dismay, when she comes home, she finds out that it was no, comma, price is too high. So these little commas or these little words are very important where they end up on. So punctuation, word order, is incredibly important, okay? Now, if I take this little group off this testosterone molecule, this is a methyl group, and I have a couple hydrogen, and I slip one on right here, I have a molecule called estradiol, okay? Most potent estrogen in a woman's body. And we know that it's a lot different than the testosterone that we were just looking at and its effects on a male body. So, minor changes make huge effects. And that's the point. Now, the second point I'd like to show you is that we could make another change on here and have a completely different molecule with different effects. Now, this is the estradiol molecule, and I just took off a little hydrogen there, and we need a little something to put in its place, so we'll just kind of take some carbon from behind your ear. This is a carbon-carbon triple bond ethinyl group, and if we stick that here, we have ethinyl estradiol. Now, that is the most common synthetic estrogen found in oral contraceptives, and just 20 micrograms of this molecule is many times more potent than the original parent molecule just by making that little change, okay? And that is the second point. So there are many examples of compounds that have a lot of similarities, but the similarities have huge differences in their effects. An example would be epinephrine, which is otherwise known as adrenaline. And if you make a minor change on that epinephrine or adrenaline molecule, you have Sudafed or pseudoephedrine. And that was over the counter on the shelf for many years until it went behind the shelf because too many people with a little simple chemistry were making methamphetamine. Okay, now one you can take the rest of your life, no problems. The other one, you have permanent brain and heart damage. Minor changes, huge differences. That same little parent molecule, you can turn it into, boom, methylphenidate, Ritalin, boom, phenylpropanolamine, another decongestant, boom, phentermine from the fen-phen notoriety. Or we could use the examples of antibiotics that came out in the market. Minor change on the parent molecule, boom, major side effects pulled off. The statin agents, another example. There was Baycol pulled in 2001. It was in the same family, same class of all the other statins, but boom, minor change, huge side effect, got pulled off the market. Beef and pork insulin, very similar to our human insulin in the effects, but when we were able to make human insulin, we took those off the market and we haven't used them since. Why? Because they would lower blood sugar, but not as well. And there were some possible side effects that we learned about later. So the point I want to make on this is that all of the studies that we've done to date have primarily been done on animal and synthetic hormones, and we don't have any major huge studies in the US on bioidentical hormones. Now, you cannot necessarily understanding what we just learned here, extrapolate that data and apply the facts from studies on synthetics and animal hormones to a human body and say that these hormones have exactly the same effects. We know this from all the other classes of drugs and medications that we use, that these minor changes we have to respect. And so when it comes to the human body, we need to use the manufacturer's original equipment. If someone were selling you carburetors for your car and was telling you that all carburetors are the same, you'd think they were a little kooky. And you'd say, not for my car, because you know that's not true. So why should we do anything different with the human body? Remember, minor changes make huge differences.